Wanted to try something different, was with family. Hey, I love that. I like people that are willing to try new foods. Hold on a second. Like I just saw the map. I just looked at the map. No, where is... Yeah. Where was the thing that... What's up, senpai? You're feeling a 4 today? I love that. All right, I think I want to go here.
There is only the Force.
You know what though? Mouthfeel, like food texture, could put me off of food really, really quick. I'm very weird about, like, you know, mouthfeel. I never even knew mouthfeel was a thing until I watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he talks about mouthfeel, and it's true though. Also, so I go straight up. Oh, bro. So I go there, climb up the wall, make a left and go there. No, how do I get there? It's right next to my big dinosaur dude. So I gotta go all the way around. There's gonna be a lot of figuring out this map, guys, so I'm sorry, but, you know, don't get bored. I don't mind mushy food that much, as long as it's paired with a liquid or something that meshes well with it. Okay, that's the homie right there. There's a way to trigger him to... Because what I gotta do is I gotta go behind him. Wait. It's telling me right here I could jump over. Is this where I trigger him? Hey homie, I need help. How do I trigger you, homie? Anybody remember how to trigger Dino Buddy? There was a special way to like get him to oh my god, Minestrone, yes. Sayo, yes, Minestrone. Oh. All right, everybody take notes. If you're around Sayo, get Minestrone soup. I like that one, Britt. Also, does anybody know? I don't know how to trigger Dino Bro. I need to get there. Let's look it up.
Blah.
How do you use focus? Focus is R1.
Have to move if I want to call an echo.
Ah. Thank you, homie. good one, homie. All right, now I gotta go straight, jump across, and then make a right. All right, so I'm gonna jump, run on the walls. Oof.
Looks like another shard.
Okay. So we got that. Being that I'm already over here on this side, might as well finish this. Which means we'll go up, go down this way, and then there's two things here. Can I use the homie again?
Can't call an echo from here.
Oh! No!
Can't call him out here.
What the fuck? Why did it jerk like that? No!
Have to move if I want to call an echo.
Yeah, that quick jerk right there at the end is weird. And trust me, I'm pretty used to quick jerks. Okay, so we're here. The other fireplace. I hate how the fast travel map and the regular map looks different because it gets me confused.
Go.
Oh, it's usually we usually put it in the foodies channel, like, you know, we have the food enthusiast channel, and whenever it's a recipe, we pin it. We pin all the recipes. I should make a forum though. Like, I started learning a lot more about Discord, and you're right though. I should make a forum. It's much more like organized. I'm going the right way. Because I got to drop down. And then apparently from this platform, I could go up and over there. Now I have to jump off midway, I think. Did I miss it? Oh, is this it? Oh, yeah, this is it. Okay. One, two, three. Okay, there's an echo I didn't.
What secrets do you hold?
And next, I guess with Bird Friend. No, how do I travel there? There's a rope. Where does this bird take me? Oh shit, it's taking me far. Oh no. How do I... I guess I have to. Oh, so I take the bird and I travel around the left-hand side of the pillar. Oh, there we go. Parkour! Parkour, parkour! Oh shit, which way do I go? Ooh. Bitch! Do I just jump on it? Oh, there we go. Thank you, Jax. Okay. If I jump, I die. Is there not a way to like... There we go. I think we're good here, right? This section. Zbula. And this section doesn't have anything. There's more stuff over here, but that's... I have a meditation point straight ahead. Might as well say I might as well take that. Is the bird gonna take me? Okay, from where I'm at, we're going east of where I'm at.
Let's stop here.
Now that we're here, jump across. Ooh, that goes up and down, and it's to my left. Shit! Hey, where's the... Where's the platform that was there? Hello?
Hello, Jedi.
I'm definitely going somewhere I'm not supposed to, but...
You show your hand, Jedi. Massive force. Quick.
I only got 3 trophies left, Jax. 3. How do I get up there, bro? This is the only place. This is the only way I could get up. But how? No, I don't even know why I didn't just go ahead and grab these trophies when I was playing the game. I don't know if like I was in a rush to play another game. How do I get back up there? Is the only way to get back up there by going all the way, like going all the way on top over here? How do I go down? Okay, I see that. That's what I need to take. Where's the elevator for that? I'm guessing it's this. Yeah, I called it back up. Okay. I think we figured it out. I think we figured it out. Oh God! Imagine I had 3. Imagine the game had 3 million trophies. Yo, Jax, I'm excited for those games next week, man. Fran Bow, I'm excited for all those games. It's gonna be a good time. Down and right. All right, so we go down, and then we make a right. Damn, how did I miss this, bro? This is like out in the open. Okay, from there. Okay, so I go here, run across the wall, zip line across, zip line down, and then I should hit this platform. I gotta go on that platform. Oh shit. I zipline here and I zipline down. Do I lose the chance to go up there? Because this platform looks separated from everything else. I feel like I have a better chance jumping from here. Let's see. I'm definitely excited for it. Oh shit, I'm definitely excited for it, Jax. Really, really definitely excited for it. Yo, Uzi, what's goody, bro? Am I going the right? No, I want to go. How the fuck do I? Shit, I almost. How do I get there? Hey, yo.
You're afraid.
Yeah, and hopefully, like, you know, hopefully with that little change, I don't know. Hopefully, like, it brings in a new crowd or whatever. But like, I'm willing to try it. Yo, Uzi, are you on PC? Because I see you. I think you're struggling with that. There's a after you redeem that, you have to go ahead and choose on the screen where you want it to go. Shit.
Get you.
Payday. I'll run you through. One down, one arm. Just one of many. Yeah, that's a... Not today, friend. Too slow.
So I dropped. I gotta go up. I gotta go up this platform. I gotta go up here. How do I get up there? No. No, it's above this. How do I go above this? Oh. Shit. All right. Yeah, how did I miss all these things, bro? So I cleared everything here. I'm getting all the collectibles, which thankfully I believe, like, because I beat the game. Because I beat the game, like like all the collectibles show up on screen.
A little help, buddy.
Enemy in range. Affirmative. Acquiring. I have sustained damage. Time to fight. One move again. I won't die yet. More.
Shit.
Your blood, my freedom.
Help me! Here!
Hey, how do I make it?
I won't yield. You scum.
I got a zip line across this way. No. I guess that's not the way to go. I have to go No, I gotta go back here and then go under. Oh no, I was just there. No, shit. Honestly, that's right, Jax. Like, I don't remember this game at all. That's the bad thing about like taking time off away from a game and then. Oh wait, I gotta figure out my next move, which will be. I got everything there. I got everything here. Everything there. I've got 99.6% of this damn planet done. You want to know how much of a pain in the ass that 0.4% is going to be? I got an unopened chest here. I guess I'll go here. Harvest Ridge meditation point. Let's check it out. Yes, someone has to be sub to all of us to see it. Yeah, I'm the exclamation mark. I think it's this one, Harvest Ridge. Yeah. Oh, it's right there. Oh, I see it right there. Is there a way to get on that roof? Maybe I could use this bird. Oh yeah, I could. How did I miss it? Like, new music track unlocked. Okay. All right, we don't have to look here. We did everything here. All right, we got something over here. All the way in the bottom. Yeah. And there's no meditation chamber there. So it's right here.
Like your gumption. Now look at that.
We got one of the trophies without even wanting to get them, but we got it. Oh, you son of a bitch! Oh, this is in the meditation chamber.
I bet Z can get the data off this disk.
Oh, that was it? The data disk? Some bitch. Okay. I've won the game sex. I think the best words that could be spelled are either sex, sucks. Trying to think.
We're frying it too? This can't get any better. What else? What are we gonna do? You move mountains.
Harley, what's up, beautiful? Unattained lost treasure. How do I get to you? Like this is underground. Is there like a little elevator? It shows me that there is. And that elevator. It's another meditation chamber? Fuck me. Alright, so I gotta get to the meditation chamber. So let me place the beacon there. Shit. What's goody with you, Queen? How was your day today? What were you up to? I'm just doing a very short stream today. We already hit the 3-hour mark actually, so I'll probably stream for like 1 more hour. And I'm just cleaning up some platinum trophies, you know. Ooh, actually, Untamed Downs is right next to where I need to go. So wherever I'm at, We're about to go to Untamed Downs.
Need to center myself.
Untamed Downs. You came to your aunt's just chilling? Oh, you staying the night over there? Thank you, thank you for stopping by and like having me up while you're out there chilling with the fam. Okay, I gotta go back and around. And then there's something that's gonna pull me up over there. How was that? Oh shit, Carly, damn, I don't know if I'm ready for that commitment. You gotta take me out to dinner first before you bring me to bed. Do I just jump up? Oh wait, I could use these dudes. Hold up, homie. I think I could use you to jump, right?
Time to ride, buddy. Jump!
You're yo. Oh my God, Carly, you missed it. Damn. We'll go over it again though. Yeah, like we had like a little half an hour big activities today. So much, Carly. So much. I was telling chat that like for the longest I've been wearing like, you know, XL size tees and stuff because, you know, your boy gained weight. I got big. Anyways, long story short, started my weight loss journey. I lost a lot of weight and now I could fit in a schmedium. So I'm about to start dressing up like a fuck boy from Soho. Watch out, one train. Oh my God. Nah, man, the red lines are crazy, man. Red lines going out to the BX. That's some crazy shit right there, man. Okay, so I've got to go. So I go straight. And then left. How's your boy supposed to get that? 168th, baby. Nah. I used to use the red lines a lot, man. I used to go around like towards Co-op City and shit. So I used to always use the red lines a lot. Gun Hill Road and shit up there. It was some nasty times up there though. It wasn't the best of times. Definitely devious doings going on. Oh, I just dropped down? Interact?
I'm sure Z can decrypt this for us.
Okay. Shit. You got it that easy. All right, let's go. Goddamn door. Closing the goddamn door. I did my jump. All right. I could remove the beacon. I have an unheard echo all the way back over here. Bro, how do I get that? It's another meditation chamber. Okay, fuck it, we'll do it. Yeah. Visit Bog. Yo, Carly, if you ain't spitting facts, I don't know who is, cause you damn right it only came scandalous out there. Yo, Beep, how you doing, man? I'm glad you're feeling the 5 today. I gotta go to Viskid Bog. So I go zip line, drop down, zip line. Right? Zip line. Zip line drop. Okay. I was like, yo, your boy is. Had a great night last night. Yo, I love that for you, man. A few nights ago wasn't my best night, but you know, a couple of friends reached out to me, made it better. Now, today, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling fabulous today. I'm like a 4.5 today. I would have been a 5, but I had 2 slices of pizza, and I am lactose intolerant, so that's what's happening right now. Oh, okay, I gotta go back and make it right. You had pizza 2 and oh, you know what I gotta do? You gotta remind me. I gotta send you the eczema hacks that I got. That really sucks that you got them after a fucking COVID shot. That's trash, man.
All these chambers, all this training, and for what? A long shot for a planet that might not even exist.
Oh, I didn't mean to. My bad. That's literally God saying, you know, can't be perfect. So he gave you that, and he made you shit when you have dairy. I don't see anything else wrong with you. All right, so we got that. We're good. Oh, I know. I know you have that other condition too, which, listen, let me tell you, like props to you, because I know a lot of people, like, I mean, at least from what I've seen, you stay active as fuck. So, like, I know that, I know the other thing that you had mentioned that you had, like, puts people out. I had told you before, like, Serabium has it too. I would imagine, because I mean, you said you need, you had to have the steroid shots for it, so I could just imagine how those really, really hard waves hit. All right, so we've got there's nothing here. And there's nothing here. Nothing, 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 nothing. Wait, in the stables? I have treasure there too? I'll check that out after. All right, I got nothing down here except this one. And this one is by Sodden Grotto. So we're gonna go to Sodden Grotto next.
All set, BD?
Come on, double trigger. Run up to my left, go around, bam. Yeah. She's around, Luft. You better hide. She is around. Also, oh, I did put you on my auto shout out list. Okay, I was just making sure. I gotta go back, meditate, bring that thing back out again. I was looking at that thing,
Let's stop for a moment.
not realizing that that thing was the treasure that I had to destroy. Honestly, you actually might be godlike, Luft. She usually doesn't take this long to like reap consequence unless, I mean, she's probably masturbating right now.
Hey, not bad.
Thank you so much, Crow. You stay fresh, cheese bag. Thank you so much, man, for supporting me, man. Yo, Luft, man, how's the birthday stream, bro? How was the rest of it? Nah, bro, like, it's the least I could do. You're always here hanging out with me. Yo, you guys are really testing the mods right now. I am unsupervised. Oh my god. Oh, unopened chest. Okay. Nothing there. Up here. Oh shit. All the way on top I got stuff. Observation deck. All right, let's go there. Well, before she does that too, Luft, I'm gonna just say Godspeed. Godspeed, sir. You're gonna be timed out to the time till the point where Twitch gets renamed to something else. That's understructure. No, I actually.
And we're live.
I'm just curious if if fucking Jax is like scrolling up and reading with chat or just Steven, thank you for the raid, bro. Yo, did you guys win your series? That's not too bad. 6,000 seconds ain't too bad.
We got him.
Yo, I used to time people out for fucking as long as I could. Hey, yo, let's go. Damn. Oh, so you guys have been moving, bro. Cause last time we spoke, you were telling me that you guys were way under 500. So yo, let's go, man, with the dubs. You got a suspicious DM and now it makes sense. Yo, was the suspicious DM from Jessa? Cause Jessa came in here like with the countdown, like 3, 2, 1. Yo, let's fucking go, man. I hope you guys make playoffs, bro. All right, if Jessa says they're not a snitch, then they're not a snitch. But somebody in chat's being an op. Hey, yo, how do you snitch on yourself? That's crazy. Yo, facts, Jessa. He narked on himself. Yo, I think not for nothing though. I think Luff gets off of that though. Lufty definitely has like a he definitely has like a timing out banning kink. And that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, they're kings for everybody out there. Yo, this map, so fucking weird to read. Okay, I just gotta get there. I guess if I go here, how do I drop down to the next level though? Like, how do I drop down to this level? Or am I better off going from the bottom and making my way up? It looks like that's the move. Oh yeah, always, man, always. Honestly, Jax and Funky have been on their shit with that. how do I get? There's a treasure chest there, but it's like floating in the. It's like floating in mid-air, bro. Like I don't see how I would get there. Yo, Junior, que lo que, hermano? What's up, man? Yeah. Yo, how the fuck do I get that, bro? Yo, how you feeling, bro? It's been a minute since I spoke to you, man. How's everything, man? How's the family? How's the softball? How's everything? No, you play softball, Junior? Or you play baseball? I think you play baseball, right? I think I go up. Bro, how do I get that? Yeah, man, how's that going, bro? How you been, man? Hello? Oh. So now I'm past it. Oh shit, where was the tournament at? It's under the platform that I was just in. So it's right under this platform. Holy shit, okay, here's it. Showdown grip. Down in PA? Oh shit. How'd you guys do in the tournament? Was it dope? Was it litty? You guys got the dubs? Was it you and Monk or just you by yourself? Oh, it's just you? Oh, okay. Oh, he only does softball? Oh, that's because Monk is an old head, though. He don't got the eyes for baseball anymore. Just like me, bro. Speaking about eyes, I still gotta get my shit checked. I'm gonna go with my mother in about 2 weeks to see what's up.
I need to clear my mind.
Actually, hold on.
Let's keep going.
All right, we're at 99.8%. Let's go. Alright, so we got nothing there. Back to the middle row. We got a few things over here, which is a hazard, but there's a lost treasure there. So we could go to Meditation Point, Rehabilitation Wing. I wonder what this hazard is. All right, Rehabilitation Wing is... Get over here! How did it hit him? What to say? That's the hazard. Unattained treasure is... How fast do I die? Let's check. I forgot. Isn't there something I could use that is it no? Thing is this thing. I think it's by the tree. How do I get there? No, I'm trying to go on the... There's no way I can land on fucking. Oh, I did. Oh. Okay. Oh. Oh, no, why did it push me off? Wow. Okay, so that's not even. Carly, have a good night. Thank you so much for hanging out. I look forward to us keeping our snap streak alive. Are these not? So these aren't.
Let's get this data.
All right, that's what it was. Okay, we got it. Now to get this, which I could go from here and easily grab that. Could also go from here though. Oh no, that's not so easy. Yo, imagine humans could double jump in real life. Like just jump and then do another jump after that. You wanna know how crazy the NBA would be? I'd be Mario jumping on people's heads. Oh my god.
Focus.
Yo, the fact that that visual came across my mind, that was the best part about it.
Off we go.
Mark. Arm up and everything, bro. That is crazy.
I'll take him down. How's that possible? You're in trouble now. You broke! I'll be able to kill you. Come and fight me.
Black magic also has the power too, Jax. Unopened chest. This unopened chest is, it's not in the bottom, it's middle. So I guess we'll go to Basalt Rift. Basalt Rift. Thank you for the hydrate, Brody. Run. Take a right. I guess I'll go left and then down a little. Okay, we got hunter material. Kobo is at 100%, which is not true. Because I'm still missing stuff. Nothing else here. So all the things that I'm missing are right here in the middle now. This one and this one. Everything else we got.
With the size of the Imperial Navy, I'm surprised there aren't more purge troopers. Maybe they only need a few.
We gotta make our way back.
Perhaps, but it never hurts to have more.
Force is with me.
We'll do the landing pad. Oh, 2 more trophies left. All right, this one is across from us. Where the hell is this treasure, bro?
You got it.
I already got this. How do I get out of here? Oh, am I wall jumping? You guys just heard the sounds of Goth Daddy's throat. I'm streaming for about, oh shit, it's about to be 4 hours. You know what? I mean, I'm so close to this platinum. I'm streaming till I get this platinum, so it's not gonna be long anyways. How do I move this? Where is this? Unobtained lost treasure in the stables. Let's see.
Secret treasure at the stables in Survivor. So the stables at Rampart right here, and there's a secret item that you can only get with a very special trick. So you see that mountain. I don't know what their names are, but you see that, and you got to pay attention to what color it is. What you'll do is you'll go into here, into Pyloon Saloon, and you'll rest at this meditation point. And then after you rest at this meditation point, you'll come back and you'll check to see what mounts are in the stables. Now, this is probably not the only way to do this, but you can probably just go get a mount and bring it here if you find the right one. So neither of these ones. We're looking specifically for a pink mount. So we're just going to go back and forth, resting over and over and over again until we see a pink mount. So this might take a few rotations. We'll have to see here. It just depends on your luck, the RNG, all that, you know. Ironically, the first time I ever came here, there was a pink one. I had no idea whether there was anything special about it, but I definitely saw it and thought it was really cool looking. Unfortunately. I've never even seen one this color before. So what you're going to do is you're going to go over here to the stables. You're going to put your Neko in here, and you're going to get off. If you already have one in here, you're going to take your old one, and then you're going to get it out of the stables and jump off. And then just to make sure that it actually puts it in, you're going to get on it again and then walk out and walk back in. There we go. Just make sure. Alright, and I'm gonna reset it and make sure. I don't know. It'll be awesome if this one can also do it. I know the pink one can do it, but I've never tried a purple one. I've never even seen a purple one, to be honest. This is kind of crazy. I didn't know there were so many colors for these guys. Alright, let's see if the purple one is going to do it for us as well. It could just be any crazy colored one, because there's also like some obnoxious neon-like colored ones. Wow, so the purple one does it too. So it's not just a pink one, the purple one's also. It might just be any of the crazy colored ones. Like when you see that green one, or maybe when you see like a really bright blue one or something, you could try them. Just try different ones. But either way, once you get one that will work, it will eventually have this, and you'll interact with this, which you'll only be able to do once you get later on in the game. So you actually won't be able to do this until a little bit later on in the game. You'll eventually get.
That is such a crock of shit. Oh, okay. No, it's not complicated at all. Literally, I have to just like constantly rest. And every time I get out of rest, I go back, I check the stables, and I look for an obnoxious colored Neko, which is those mounts that they're called Nekos. I have to see if there's an obnoxious colored one, which no, none of these are obnoxious. And once I do see him like a purple one or a pink one or whatever, I bring it into that stable. Because what it does then is it digs up these rocks. But for some reason, it's only the obnoxious colored one, apparently.
Time to move.
There's a pink one there. I think it only took us 2 tries. It took that guy like, I don't know how many tries it took him.
Let's grab a lift, Beatty.
So now I bring him in there.
That's good.
Your Neko is now stabled. And so now I gotta go back and rest. And after I rest, it should dig up some rocks for me to turn around or whatever. Did you ever get the plat for this, Steel?
We can trade this at Doma's shop.
I was gonna say this is probably one of the easier plats to get. It's very straightforward. I'm not sure if there are any missable trophies. Not 100% sure about that, but this was such a fun plat to get, man. Very straightforward, very.
We've expanded into our final plant, but let's chat. I can still assist in other gardens.
Just what we need.
All right, so finally we've extended the garden. We got that trophy.
The garden is fully expanded. Well done, Cal. This, of course, comes with benefits. There should now be more than enough goodness in the soil to boost the plant's growth. And, if you prefer, you could put plants in stasis at the size of your choosing.
That's pretty dope, putting a plant in stasis. I'll come back and do that after. All right, now. Unobtained seed. Bro, what the hell is all this? All right, at least it's not anything collection wise. All right, let's go to Doma's. Doma is right here, if I'm not mistaken.
Fine piece of gear. Zig could knock this dent out if you'd like.
Oh, no thanks. Helps me remember how I got it.
And how's that?
Bounty hunter. Made the mistake of pulling a blaster on my little girl.
I got 15 shards. I'm missing one shard.
This one.
I knew you'd pick that up.
I'm missing one damn shard, bro. That's the last trophy I need to get.
Don't be a stranger.
I'm missing one more shard for Doma. Is it only found on this planet, or is it found in other planets? I hate that they count the flowers now as fucking collectibles. Is there a way I could... I want to hide the seeds. I just need one more of Doma's things, and I don't see it. Could I find Doma's things in other... I feel like I've explored everything. So unless I have to find Doma's thing in another planet.
Nice to see you. All goods acquired completely legally. Thank you very much. Come back anytime. Oh, I can't believe Grok's gone. Did you know him, Cal?
Not very well. Did you?
I did. Our relationship was a fair bit contentious. He was incorrigible, but, well, now that he's gone, I guess I miss him coming in. I never told him.
I know the feeling.
That right?
Yeah.
What a galaxy.
Oh. So on the Shattered Moon, there's a lot of lost treasures. Yo, Flash is going good. We're down to like, we're pretty much down to one trophy. Actually, speaking about one trophy. Of 25 perks discovered. I need one. I think I need one more. How you feeling, Flash? Feeling any better? Are you spending time with people? Did you get to see Hans Bula today and Shin? Okay, friends, time for bed. Good night. Sex. Black Magic. Have a good night. Oh, you're on your way home right now.
Where to go?
Shattered Moon it is. Next up, kiddo, the Shattered Moon of Kobo.
What happened here?
Got hit by a big rock. Took a huge chunk out of it.
It must have been a big rock.
Yeah, must have been. I wish it were bigger.
I hope they make another Jedi game, and this girl would be the main protagonist. Oh, I forgot my goth bay is there.
All right, make like a rock and quit moving around my cabin.
Okay, good. Good. I'm glad that they reached out. This beard was chosen by Brie Cosplays because it was Brie Cosplay's birthday. And we decided we are gonna make Cal Kestis the way Brie Cosplays wants him to look like.
What's the reading?
Not holding. We'll need to reinforce the chamber again.
sure Z can decrypt this for us. Let's get this data disk back to Z.
Well, let me check my map while I'm climbing. Britt, please, please. People are trying to sleep, Britt. You're making too much noise.
We got him.
Yo. Oh shit. Wait, where's the treasure? Is it on top? It's supposed to be right here. Am I bugging? Unobtained lost treasure. I don't see anything. Oh. There's nothing there.
Hey, BD.
Is this glitched or something? Like,